So this is the evaluation for my project. So first question is, how effective was your time management of the project? What did you do well and what did you improve? So I think my time management was actually alright, to be fair, over this course and this FMP. I managed to get everything done in time and managed to do other stuff as well while doing it, and I also have my personal project which I managed to do while doing it. But I mean, I did leave some days where I didn't do anything. But I think that was more the fact I had done everything, and at that point, there was nothing I could have done. So I maybe could have helped someone else in my group. So I think actually time management was alright. Next question, how effective was communication and organisation as a group? Could you have developed this? It was quite separated, I think, the group, and it wasn't really the TV people together and the VT people together. But it was kind of what I expected, the way the group was done. It was two leaders, really, in the group. And sometimes they clashed, but they usually stuck together, did all the important decisions. Well, me and Ben would sit to the side, make sure everything's going well, and then if a decision wasn't working, we would come and say something, which actually we did. An example of this was at the end, come to the edit. I noticed there was no laugh track, and although it actually didn't sound too good, it actually was in there, and without it, I think it would have really made the sitcom very dead and quiet. But I think if we were to do this next time, I think maybe a different group, or I would just have to probably come out my shell, maybe take the leader myself. The next question, what unexpected problems did you encounter during planning and production, and how did I overcome them? So, one of our actors, didn't fit the role. We managed to overcome that by actually changing what they were in the last rehearsal, what they were like. We changed Bevy, the mum, from being quite, not the smartest to actually being an alcoholic. I just think put a bit more in-depth stuff into the character. We overcame by making them alcoholic. One of the actors also dropped out. Or we slightly got rid of them, but we did have the backup, kind of understudy, who we then put in, gave lines, they learned, and he actually did really well. One of the best actors we had there. And I think we lost some of the VT footage. It was actually the footage for the rehearsals we lost. And of that, we just did it again. That's how it came. It was really just keeping our calm and making sure we did everything, really, and not letting it get to our heads that we've lost an actor or we lost some footage. The next question, how did your individual tasks inform the final production? Include at least 2 examples, discuss, and how was my work successful? So the running order, that was one of my things as a TV producer, and I think without the running order it wouldn't actually worked, because there was so much happening in that show, so many camera switches, so many VTs, they had to move across the stage, stuff being brung in, stuff being brought out. It was really hard. Without that, it wouldn't actually work, and I think it put a lot of sense into the show and made it more simple. And this is quite an obvious one with the risk assessment. Without the risk assessment, we couldn't even really use the room, technically, and we did it for other places where we went VT stuff. So actually, risk assessment as well. The next question, how did you use feedback from your pitch to develop your idea? So one of the parts of feedback we got back from Lee was that the setup and the set, and if we were going to go heavily detailed or not heavily detailed. And that was actually a good point, because at that time we were going to go for a very detailed set. Stuff everywhere, props everywhere. And in fact, we did kind of do that, but we made it also quite simplistic. We only really went into detail on one of the rooms. That was because I spent most of the time there. And then the other half... Oh, sorry, my voice there. Oh, that was bad. And the other half wasn't in major detail. And I think that's really the main feedback we took from the pitch. And other stuff, just make sure we keep our heads, and we did. And I think actually our pitch was really good. I know we got a standing ovation, so it was really good. Next question, what skills have you developed during the assignment? During my show and other shows, I actually cameramanned, which I've not actually properly done yet. I mean, I've done it at the start of the year, but I don't really count that. But this, I've done it, and I think I was actually pretty decent. In my communication at the start, I wasn't really communicating with my group, whoever I was with. And I think I've got better over time at that. Which skills would I like to develop further, and how would I do this? I think the one role I didn't really do was directing. I would actually like to direct films, but doing live shows, I think, is my weakest spot, and I actually really want to get better at it, because I want to go into live television. So I think the way I get better is shadowing somebody who's very good at it. There's a few people I have in mind, or have a go at directing myself more, get straight into the seat, and I'll learn from my mistakes, and I think that's the best part of how to get better, really. Next question. Identify what went well with your rehearsals and explain why. So actually, I have to say, I don't think our rehearsals went too well. The first one went reasonably good for a first rehearsal, but our second one, that being the last thing we did before, was really poor. A few actors didn't turn up, the set wasn't there. It was just really bad. I think we actually kind of cancelled it quite early because we was being pointless. But thankfully, before even the first rehearsal, we did two rehearsals in the radio studio, just going through lines, which kind of helped the actors learn what their characters were like and actually learn the lines and meet the other actors, so they could know what they were working with. So I think our actual rehearsals that were set weren't good, but I think our other rehearsals we did before we set ourselves were really good. Next question. Identify what needed to be improved. What did you develop for these live broadcasts? I think the main thing we got from the rehearsals in the second one was just make sure the actors learn their lines and the staging. Realised that some of the angles weren't working, which we had for the cameras. There was balloons in the way. Although that actually did happen in the final show, I wouldn't have put it there. I don't think we've actually really improved much from the rehearsals, except learning lines and where they went around the stage. 10th question, identify three things that went well with the live broadcast and explain why they were a success. So I think the live broadcast itself wasn't too good, but I'm just going to think about the post, if it was actually live, because it wasn't in the end. But I think the laugh track, personally, I didn't think was too bad. Maybe could have been put in a bit less, a bit more in certain places, but I think maybe if you don't focus on it, it might seem a bit more smooth. Another thing that went well was the camera shots. Personally, I think one camera team did a really good job, and I think some of the directing was actually really good in some parts. Wasn't so good in the others, but some parts was really good. And the last bit, I'd say some of the comedy was better. I know we spent a long time trying to do the script, and we really tripped up sometimes when it just wasn't funny, and we did have that told to us. But I think we did eventually get a funny script going, and the humour in the live performance was really good, I think. And the final question, identify 2 to 3 things that could have been improved. Explain how you can make these changes and develop the next assignment. So 2 to 3 things. So let's do the first one. I think the leadership. I think I would like to take leader for the next thing. I think that's kind of messed us up. The decisions I don't think were right a lot of the time. And I think who was on certain jobs was the thing that we could improve. Also, when we were getting the actors in, I think we should spend longer doing that. We only spent 2 weeks, and if we got the best actors we could have got, really. Some of them really did let us down. And I think that could be improved. I think the effort put into VTs and the effort altogether, really, actually. I think a lot of us did have days where we didn't want to do anything. We just sit there doing nothing. And actually, you can't do that. It did set us back a few times. And I think that's what I would do, especially for the next assignment. I'm definitely constantly working. I'm not going to have any days where I'm not going to do anything. Even if I've done all my work, which actually did happen a lot, I'm going to go help someone else, another group, or there's someone in my group, make sure their work's done. And being ahead of a game isn't so bad sometimes because it means we can reflect on everything we've done. So yeah, that was my evaluation. I apologise for the voice crack halfway through. But yeah, I think this has gone really well. And yeah, thank you.